live from the Cajun capital of the world.
I'm the average Lafayette, Louisiana kid.
See, I'm back on my...
Hey, fellas. Hey, Brady Review said, congratulations. Say what's up, y'all. Yeah!
People that have courage don't have no extra gene. There's no difference in you. The difference is, are you going to sit down when it's time to stand up?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another edition of Rage in Review, post-game edition. Cajuns get the sweep over the Georgia State Dirty Panthers. What is up, boys and girls? It is Nick. I am obviously in a different place today. I'm still in the lovely metropolis of Scott, Louisiana. I'm out here today because I decided I didn't want to go home. I wanted to watch some Cajuns baseball in Lafayette. I'm still a little sunburned from yesterday, if you can't see, though. I know you guys are too. I see Lane looking like a crawfish. I know Mike, you got a little sunburn yesterday too. Nothing wrong with that. We had a good time though, didn't we?
Absolutely. It was hot as hell. I think we all got burnt yesterday.
Well, I was sitting in the bougie seats. I had some inside seats, but then I decided to go sit outside. And thanks to Jerry, he got me some pretty bougie seats out there at the top of the level where it wasn't there was shade the whole afternoon. But, of course, you still got a little bit of that residual sun, even though you were sitting up there. But it was hot. It was fun, though. It was a lot of fun, Lane. I know you joined us late yesterday, but you still had a pretty good time in Section A. I mean, hell, last time in Section A. I'm just getting my voice back, by the way. I thought I gave that umpire some pretty good hell later in the game, if I may say so myself.
It was a fun time. I was late because I was coming home from work. I had to go home and change and whatnot. But yeah, it was a good time.
Work, man. You got to make money.
So,
yeah,
no
nothing
doubt.
wrong with that. All right, boys. Well, we'll take a quick break. Thank our sponsors. When we come back, we will get into it. We will talk about all the stuff, mostly good, that happened this weekend after we thank our sponsors. Be right back.
We'd like to thank the following partners who make Rage and Review possible. Our title sponsor, the Best Stop Family Market, with locations in Katy and Baytown, Texas, Toledo Bend, Karen Crow, and of course the official location opened in 1986 in Scott. Visit the Best Stop and ask about the Rage and Review tailgate platters. Gulf Coast Bank, title sponsor of the Tailgate Show every Saturday 3 hours before kickoff. Planet Radio 106.7, Lafayette Roofing, The Yard Goat, Yes Please Branding and Marketing, Old Time Grocery, Stride Safety Solutions, Eat Lafayette brought to you by Lafayette Travel, Rage and Hydration, and Dr. Brett Venable at Recovery Chiromed. And we'd also like to thank our Patreon sponsors listed here. For only $2 a month, you too could have early access to uncut interviews before they air here on our shows. You also get an exclusive Patreon icon next to your name on Cajun Threads, the official message form for Rage and Review. If you are interested in joining as a Patreon, visit us at patreon.com/Rage and Review. Thanks to all of our corporate and Patreon sponsors for making this show possible.
Once again, thanks to the Best Stop. Of course, I went load up, my little cooler for my drive home tomorrow. Even though we have a Best Stop in Katy, Texas, to me, there's nothing like, the home base, the mothership in Scott. So I went over there, loaded up. I saw my girl Dana. I think she was making some Dana burgers in the back. So it was good to see all those folks over there. But thanks again to our partners and friends over at the Best Stop. I got to tell you boys, I know we've had sponsorships throughout our years at Rage and Review, but man, you really they feel like family, which makes it even cooler. They come out and cook with us. They come out and eat with us. They provide some of the stuff for our tailgates. So just can't really express how great they've been for our show. And hopefully that's going to be a partnership that we continue for many years, because I just love those folks. All right. This is going to be fun, boys. We had a great weekend. And I think before we get into the baseball stuff, I do want to talk about, obviously rained down on Friday night. And we're like, oh, man, we're going to play 2 on Saturday. You start to think about it. You're like, oh, man, we're going to be lit by the second game. So that's okay. And it gave me an opportunity. I was probably not going to go to the game on Friday night, but I was going to make it for Saturday. And since it was a doubleheader, why not? Let's hang out there for 2 games. I think Ryan said he was going to go to RSB at game 2. Well, guess what? RC and I made our way down to Section A and got absolutely stupid over there. Had a great time. But to me, the highlight of the entire weekend, of course, the sweep, we'll get to that in a second, was the presentation or I guess I should say I guess it is a presentation of how they rolled out Jonathan Lucroy's jersey retirement. And I thought that was done so very well. And I think the whole weekend after that point just kind of built off of that. Like, everything went well. And you kind of have to sit back after you see everything that happened this weekend at the Teague and say, man, this place is special. Like, this place is special, especially when you have one of the better players in our history getting his jersey retired. His family's here. It was awesome. And then you just see everything that followed that as far as the game atmosphere and the experience. And things seem to go off without a hitch for the most part. I thought it was a good display of Cajuns baseball and really what we should have grown to expect, and how lucky we are to have that here, Mike.
Yeah, that was cool to see live. We got to see LaCroix talk and retired his number, and it also brought a really big crowd. And game 1 feels like it fed off of that atmosphere. Congrats to LaCroix. That was pretty cool to see out there. Got to see Ron Guidry, former players out there. Really cool to see, and it was even awesome to see the guys respond to game 1 right after that ceremony. So I thought it was really good, special moment.
And then to top it off, you got Colt 45 hitting the bomb, right? So a catcher hits the first bomb of the game, and just that was kind of like a kickoff for how the rest of the weekend would go. But I thought that was, again, really special. The presentation was amazing. The who they got to speak and to congratulate him was really cool. But just the atmosphere, the excitement, everybody just kind of getting there early. I mean, there were people there in line from the Teague all the way down Reinhardt Drive that were waiting for those jerseys. I was not waiting in line for a jersey. I'm sorry. I'm like, if somebody can hook me up with a jersey, that'd be great, but I'm not standing in line for that. But the people showed up for it, and they stayed. I thought they'd be one of those situations where they go in, get the jersey, and leave. But, man, they stayed. Atmosphere was great. Got to tell you, Elaine, you missed out in game 1. That was a lot of fun. But let's get to game 1 with the Cajuns. Cajuns put it on the Georgia State Panthers. And I think, again, that's the best of – I was talking about the atmosphere and the game day experience and everything that the whole crew – it just kind of all came together this weekend at the Teague. But when you look at the game kind of following in those footsteps, winning 14-1, I'm not going to get into stats because everybody really had a great game, and the defensive plays were amazing. Our offense is starting to wake up. You go in, you beat a conference team 14-1 in a weekend where you have to win. Like, you knew you had to win the series at a minimum, and they just put it on them. They didn't wait. They didn't kind of lollygag. You saw our pitching was clutch this weekend for the most part. We'll talk a little bit about today and how I didn't like the way that we ended the game. But in the end, that game 1 just felt like you got off to a great start and really gave us the momentum, Mike, for the rest of the weekend.
Absolutely. And that was such a well-rounded, dominant performance on the defensive side, on the mound, and at the plate. Herm, we could talk about the score, 14 runs, but what Herm did was just phenomenal. Herm did what Herm does on Saturday. I was confused at first when I saw Herm go game 1. I'm thinking, why Brash is not going game 1? But once I got to the game and sat down, you realize Herm is good on Saturdays. He's in his momentum. He's in his routine. So when you saw him at 1 o'clock, like that's his game time. Like
I love the decision, man.
Yeah,
I love that decision, getting him in game one.
Once I realized, this all started making sense. Like it makes sense of what they did game one with him. He's in his routine, and he was so dominant. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and he did it all on 88 pitches. What he did, I just don't want to water it down because I know we hit the ball really well, but what Herm did on the mound was just phenomenal.
It was par for the course with him, man. And look, I don't know if it counts as a complete game. I'm counting it as a complete game because it was. I mean, the man couldn't pitch any more innings, which you want him to do. So I in my stat book, I'm putting that as a complete game for Herm, which would be his 4th this season, right? Which would probably lead the NCAA, but just absolutely amazing. And what's even more amazing is how great of a kid he is. And I say kid, I mean, he's a grown man, but he's just a good dude. And you love to see those kind of guys have success. And thankfully, I think I was able to get him, get him a little promising gig after his baseball career is over. So excited to see how that works out for him. But again, I don't want to go through all the stats on game one. It is what it is, man. We just kicked their ass up and down the field and did what we should have done to a bunch of teams this season. There were so many times this season where we could have put our foot on the gas and really, blew up a team, and we never took advantage of it. But Georgia State was a team we should sweep. And the fact that we came out game one with our foot on the gas and did what we did was very impressive. Between games, that was a lot of fun. I got to meet up with, not meet up, but I talked to a couple of the coaches who I'd never met. I'd never met Sandy before. And a funny story, he told me when he first moved down here, it's hard enough adjusting to the culture. He talked to my brother for 5 minutes, couldn't understand half of what he said, which to his defense, I can't understand half of what my brother says anyway. So let's move on from that. Then, on top of that, I Coach Tibb was there. I talked a little bit to Herm, a couple of players, but I did get to see Dr. Maggard out there, talk to him for a little bit. He told me I was hilarious, which I appreciate his understanding that we're entertainment and we're not real life. But he thinks he enjoy what we do, and especially what I do on Twitter. And then Dr. Kalaru, we had a good conversation, and I really like Dr. Kalaru. I don't know if you guys have had the pleasure of meeting Ramesh, but he's a cool dude, man. He was just sitting there drinking a Mick Ultra and just shooting the shit. And I thought that was really, really cool. So glad I got to meet those guys. And then we go into game two, which is a little bit closer, but probably more of what I expected in game one, in a 5-1 win against Georgia State. I almost said Georgia Southern, man. Those Georgia Southern fans would absolutely rail me. But again, 12 hits in that game. Now Georgia State did force 3 errors, but still 5-1. We got 2 in the third, 1 in the 7th, a couple in the 8th to kind of close the deal there. But again, what I like to see is Georgia State try to build a little momentum in the 8th, said, okay, we're going to score 1. We're going to make it a 3-1 ball game. Cajuns came back and scored 2. And that's what good baseball teams do. We talk about it so much. You give up 1, you want to come back and get at least 1 back. So that was good to see. But I thought game 2, any highlights, any players that really stood out to you in that game? Scary injury for the right fielder for Georgia State. Thankfully, he's okay. He ran into that wall, it seemed like, at 100 miles an hour. But, man, you like what you saw out of Brash. He's such a great asset to this team. Again, you liked what you saw out of the relief pitching. Our defense was strong once again. The guy tried to blow the ball, foul. That didn't work for him. But game 2, very entertaining. Again, kind of what I expected in game 1, Mike. But anything stand out to you in game 2 that really kind of gave you some excitement going into the final game today?
Gotta be Brash. Brash was so dominant as usual. That was so big because as a player, it's never really fun to have a doubleheader, especially as hot as it was. Some of them get a little tired towards game 2, but they really hit the ball. Brash was dominant. It was fun to see the scouts. The scouts were out there videoing them. They were all out whenever he took them out. That was cool to see. But I thought Drew's getting hot at the right time. He's playing really good defense. He had a really good weekend. that's kind of a guy that's sticking out. I was able to talk to his dad, and he did close off his stance, so they made adjustments with his batting stance. I feel like he's figuring it out. He's getting really good at the right time. Collins was 2 for 5. Noah 3 for 5. Noah had a really good weekend as well. So that younger class, man, they really stepped up. Blaze went 2 for 4. So a lot of the younger guys stepped up, and the doubleheader was so big for us because we absolutely needed that. And on top of that, we got the sweep. So we absolutely needed to sweep, and the boys handled business this weekend, and it was. Man, I think everybody was happy. Everybody was sure celebrating Saturday night.
Oh, man. We'll get into that in a little bit, actually. We'll talk about the celebrations. From a game perspective, again, it was what you expected, I felt like, to see on first game on Friday. I think Georgia State may have even held out their number 1 for game 2, which we did as well, obviously, with Brash. But I think regardless, we would have gone with Herman game 1, which I thought was fantastic on a Saturday. Game 1, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Makes sense. But, again, we took care of business against a team that we should take care of business against. And we didn't do the silly thing where we build the lead and let them come back, which we've done so many times this season. Last 5 games for me have been really, really encouraging through the rest of the season. This is where we start. And I like what Brady Boudreaux is saying. We're getting closer to turning dials instead of flipping switches. That is the best analogy ever. Now, aside from last year, you got to remember Deggs coach teams typically struggle at the beginning and turn it on towards the end. Now, this year was very discouraging in the middle part because that's not what we usually see. We were really good at the beginning stages of the season this year, kind of went into a life jacket situation in the middle, and now we're starting to pick it up. So let's not forget that traditionally, under a Deggs coach team outside of last year, we pick it up in the later stages of the season. I didn't have much hope that was going to happen this year. I felt like we were going in the same direction as last season, but certainly encouraging, not ready to write a check and say, this is a team that's going to Omaha, even though some people in our group chat keep posting the GIF. And it's not a GIF, it's a GIF. But after what you saw in game 1 and game 2, you're starting to think, okay, we're putting it together this season. And, of course, that translated to game 3 today. I do want to talk about some of the shenanigans, first of all. Section A, I can tell you, I don't know if I've ever sat in Section A. I used to, and now I think I didn't give them the name Section A. I called them Couillon Corner at first because I didn't know what to call them. And then it became Section A. So we'd always kind of go back and forth. Chico would come do the McDonald's radar gun throw. And I don't know if he ever hit it, actually, but I just made it up and said, free cheeseburgers for everybody. So it was always a Section 8 person. So it was actually the first time I ever sat down there in game 2 last night. I'm barely getting my voice back, boys. I was getting them hell. And I usually do that on away games, especially later in the game when I get a little bit of, alcohol in me. I start kind of, being stupid. But it was fun to be stupid around people who are more stupid than me, so I seem normal. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate Section A. Got to see my girl Amanda. She was like, I knew you were somebody who knew me because you called me Amanda, and I think it's Taco. I think people call her. But my girl Amanda, we graduated high school together. So that was cool to connect with her. Saw the boys out there. Lane, you showed up. That was awesome. RC was supposed to go home, but he stayed. And then towards the end of the game, I was given the opportunity by the awesome stream crew, the stream team. They're freaking fantastic. Let me see the behind-the-scenes work that they're doing there. And we got to get those boys some money, man. And things are coming. Things are happening. They're going to get I don't want to go into it. I think there's a good future ahead for our stream team and how things might be a little bit better on the stream front in the next couple of years. But I will say, they still need upgrades. They still need things done. So maybe we team up with Joel and try to get some of that money. It's not like we're talking about $100,000. Like we're just talking about routine stuff that they need done, that they can use some money. Maybe we'll do something for them in the very near future. But it's just watching the production, hearing it, talking to some of the guys, sitting there, watching everything that was going on. Really, really professional. Awesome. And those guys are freaking great. Video Brian has been there for longer than I've been. He works with Channel 1 Video, but gives his talents over to UL for running the stream. So all in all, just fantastic production, fantastic quality. We all know that. You can give your opinions on play-by-play and who's doing what. That's a whole situation. We're not going to get into that. But as far as the quality of the stream, I don't think it could get better in the entire Sun Belt. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Appreciate them for letting me go back there and see everything. I tried to buy them lunch today, but they were like, no, we don't need lunch. So I'll save that money, try to give it for an upgrade on some software, maybe further down the line. Let's go to Sunday. Today was a little bit tighter. And today's game, fresh on our minds. First, you look at the lineup and you're like, why is Lee at second? Why is Donnie at first? I get why we're playing Griffin Abear. The kid has talent, just not putting it together. So I get that. But I didn't like the way the game ended, in that you felt like all the emotion from Saturday, we kind of earlier in the game had it a little bit, but that faded as the game went on. Didn't have the sharp bullpen that we had. I didn't think Sawyer had his best stuff today. I think we'll all agree on that. I think we've seen a better Sawyer, and maybe it's because he's coming in relief on a Sunday. But all in all, I felt like the game kind of faded away towards the end, and having to rely in the ninth inning to get a double play that was very close was disappointing. However, I'm just nitpicking at this point. I'm just trying to find something to be not completely happy with. I just would have liked to see a little bit of intensity continue through the entire ball game. I felt that fell off kind of fifth inning onward. What do you think, Mike?
I agree. Pitching dominated the whole day Saturday for the first two games, and I thought Ty did great. He goes 4 innings, gives up only 1 run, 1 walk. Sawyer did get touched up a little bit, wasn't his best stuff. Hayden comes in, helps us out. The like you said, nitpicking. The only question I had was Pap coming in when he already threw the day before, and Parker Smith hadn't touched the field all weekend, which he didn't need to with Brash and Herm because they dominated. But when I saw Pap come in, I was kind of confused, right? He's not absolutely fresh. He didn't throw a lot of pitches the day before, but I feel like we had more arms to turn to, and just to give him a rest, I thought Parker Smith should have maybe been that guy, but that's just me nitpicking because I don't want to water down what we did, because what we did was so huge. The sweep was huge, but if we're talking about stuff like that's kind of maybe a thing I would question.
I know. But I feel like we gotta say something negative because we are told that we're negative all the time. So I'm giving you some ammo there. But no, I think at this point we're just nitpicking. I just feel like the one disappointment was the intensity. Didn't feel like it was there later in the game. Wish they would have continued to keep the foot on the gas pedal. I feel like they backed off a little bit. But again, how can you complain about a sweep in any way, shape, or form?
Yep.
I thought it was overall just a great experience. Now, somebody did mention the debacle with the jersey handouts. I'll get to that in a second. Just want to remind everybody, 866-454-RAGE will open up the phone lines. I am working remotely, so we're going to see if I can get it all shawsed up. I don't know, Mike and Lane, if you'll be able to hear them. I'll try to get it all figured out, but I think we're in a good spot. So 866-454-RAGE if you want to call in and give your thoughts on the weekend. Anything you want to talk about. And if you don't want to talk with us live, you can hit option 2. So when you call in, it'll say, if you want to speak to the guys, hit option 1. If you want to leave a message, hit option 2. You don't have to be live. Leave your take on there on option 2, and we'll play it. We'd love to hear from all of the fans who are listening today. I do want to.
I do have another positive.
Oh, by the way, Lane, I did need to go to you because I know you weren't there for every game, but shit, like I didn't go to you. Tell me what's up.
I was there 2 out of 3, but I will say this: it took us 20 minutes to get through 3 games. Talking about 3 games.
Yeah.
So, kudos to you for landing the plane.
Look, hey, I'm all about Lane. Sometimes I'm a little too early in landing the plane, Lane. Sometimes a little too early, but you tell me, this weekend you were able to make 2 out of 3. What are your thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, it was a good performance at home from both the offense and defensive side of the ball, which usually we're not. It's usually one or the other. Usually the offense can hit, but the defense or the pitching and defense can't, or the hitting's off and the pitching is on. So it was good to see actually really 2 weekends in a row where the pitching and defense and the offense kind of coincided together. So that's my biggest positive on the weekend, was that we were able to have complete games amongst both sides of the ball.
I agree. And I think the biggest part of the weekend, which we haven't talked about yet, let me go ahead and share this real quick. I want to share a window here to show you guys. No, we'll share this window. There we go. Biggest part of this weekend was the fact that Louisiana moved up in the standings. So before this weekend, we were still wondering if we would be in the conference tournament. Right now, you're looking at the bottom 4 who are out. Texas State being in the bottom 4 is that's the cherry on top for me. But Texas State, Georgia State, James Madison, and Georgia Southern right now all on the outside looking in, with records from 10-14 down to 5-18. Georgia Southern's pretty much out of it, so it's really going to be 3 teams fighting to get into the tournament from this point forward. ULM may be in that conversation as well, because right now they're getting beat by Southern Miss. So if they do lose, I don't know who's got the tiebreaker. I think maybe Texas State has a tiebreaker on ULM, but that might kind of move things around a little bit. Marshall at 11-13, ODU at 11-13, and Arkansas State all are tied for 7th place in the conference right now. Then you've got Arkansas State at Louisiana in sole possession of 6th place at this moment. I think regardless of what happens the rest of the day, I think we end the day in 6th place going into the tournament, behind Troy, who's at 13-11. Now, again, Troy holds a tiebreaker on us because they did beat us for that weekend series, so we'll see how that plays out. South Alabama at 14-10. I don't know if this is updated, because they did get the series sweep over Texas State. So I do think this is post that win today. So they're at 14-10 in sole possession of 4th. You've got App State at 15-9, Southern Miss at 15-8, which looks like it'll be 16-8. So they'll have a couple of games ahead of App State in 2nd place, and then Coastal Carolina at 10-4, kind of running away with it this season. I expect they'll finish in 1st place in the conference going into the conference tournament. Southern Miss, that's interesting at 15-8, now 16-8. I think they're kind of setting up to be that 2nd place team, and then after that, it's pretty much open season. Remember, we go to App State next weekend, so that's a chance for us to continue to move up in the standings. And yeah, I think that bodes well for us for the last 2 weekend series, but we can't do what we did in the second half of the game today, which kind of let the foot off the gas. You got to keep playing. You got to keep executing. You got to win. We got to win the series at App State next weekend, which is not an easy task. Those guys are playing the best baseball that they have all season long. They did lose today, but we got to go to App State and play over there in the mountains. You never know what will happen there. So this gives you, and thank you, Jerry, for clearing up. ULM swept Texas State earlier in the year. Any downfall of Texas?
They beat us the weekend after.
Yeah.
They lost,
Yeah, well, screw those guys. But anyway, just glad to have them out of the Sun Belt, and glad that they're struggling down. Look, I think they've already played them out. I don't think it matters what they do the rest of the season. I think they played them themselves out of an at-large bid conversation. And then there was reporting that I shared on Twitter today that there was a fight within the team after the game today. Not a good look for Texas State. That's not so good for them, boys. I'm ready for them to get out of the conference. I don't know. Is anybody else, Mike? I see you nodding.
I agree. They must be panicking over there. They're fighting each other.
Good. Bunch of jerks. I don't know what it is why I hate Texas State so much. I think it's the superiority complex of Texas State fans who think that they're going to the Pac. I actually saw some of the Pac-12 people putting up a map of their current, and they're like, we're Power 5. No, dude. You're Mountain West plus Texas State. What are you talking about? Anyway, I don't want to get into that. 866-454-RAGE. I know Jerry was going to call in. So call in, Jerry. I know we're waiting on Josh to call in. Whoever wants to call in, leave a message. Talk to us live. We'd love to hear from you. Lane, what did softball do this weekend? I don't have that in front of me. Do you know what they did?
They won one game this weekend.
Okay.
So that they will go into the tournament. They'll play Wednesday, the later game, because it's a 2-game round robin or play-in type thing.
So they are in the play-in. They're not in the tournament, right?
Yeah. They are the 8 seed, so they'll play. If they win, they'll play ULM.
Softball is 8 seed versus Troy. ULM to the winner.
Yeah,
okay.
Troy. Yeah.
Okay. ULM's been actually pretty good in softball
this year. The whole thing is, they won the conference actually. So, but they'll finish, or hopefully they'll win the tournament because they play better home. Their home record is 17-7 on the year, so that'll hopefully bode well for the Cajuns. But we'll see. I mean, you never know.
I love the way that the Cajuns are playing towards the end of the season, though. I understand that it's not been great. You guys hear that ringing?
Nope.
You don't hear the ringing. Okay. We'll have to figure this out. I got Josh calling in, so I'll have to figure out the routing on this call. But until then, Josh, what's up, buddy? I can hear you. The boys can't. I'm going to work on that as we go. I don't know how. Do you know how to work the old Roadcaster Pro to route this stuff? I don't know how it goes, man. It's all jacked up. Well, maybe I'll have to do that. What's going on, man? How are you? Is Jonathan Lucroy the GOAT? Man.
He would say Ken Griffey's better.
Yeah. Lane said you would say Ken Griffey's better, but I do think he's the GOAT. Hey Josh, how about we do this? Let me go ahead and get this fixed, and I'll give you a shout so that we can all hear you. Is that good? All right. Yeah, let me call you real quick. Sorry, guys. Again, we're working remotely. I'm trying to get this all working. I can hear him, but y'all can't. So I will call Josh real quick, just so that we can get him on, because it's important. We got to hear from Josh, man. You know, Man About Town has some hot takes, and I also want him to kind of go off a little bit. I want him to go off on Big Kev, because Big Kev was right. Big Kev had it right the whole time. And look, there we go. Now we're calling. You guys can hear that, right? All right, there we go, Josh. So there we go. We can hear you now, brother.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just pick up from the Lucroy stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, shout out to Luke, man. It's easy to forget about the legends. You know what I mean? Like, we had Debo recently, but it's been a little while since we could hang our hat on a guy. I mean, Debo was the most recent, but Luke just comes into the Teague, makes us all feel 20 again. I mean, I felt like I was 20 years old at the old Teague, listening to him talk about the teams and talking about Rogue. That speech was excellent. He's always been a class act, but it just made you think about all those old times, and he was such a great player. People don't realize how great, and the lens of history, it's like time has passed. The guy is a true freshman, walked on campus and led the team in hitting at a 379 average. He had a career average of 356. That's absurd. It's an absurd number. As a catcher, by the way, it's kind of unfortunate that he doesn't get the amount of accolades that he deserved, but he had his day on Saturday. And I thought it was so well done. Bab did a great job. He always does with those kinds of things. And to see that 21 in the outfield, and we got to live through that guy. Everybody knows Ron Guidry, but we didn't live through Ron Guidry. We didn't get to see it with our own eyes. And then obviously Tony's a coach, and we lived through that, but it's just different. And like Bab said, he's the first position player to be retired. it's just awesome. It was just really well done. And, I kill Deggs regularly on how he manages baseball games. But I got to shout out to Deggs on this. That man understands what it means to put on the uniform here. And he understands what it means to be a Cajun and play ball in front of this crowd and in this town. So I just want to say shout out to him for just being gracious and understanding the moment. And he did, and they showed up for him. And it was just great. Top to bottom, just truly a great – and the fact that everybody showed up early. Now, I know Lafayette loves free shit. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wanted a jersey. But the fact that everybody showed up and was
stayed.
Literally in their seats before he said a word,
That to me was the biggest thing. Nobody got their jersey, left, and went home. They all stayed. And for the whole game, man, you looked around that entire game, and it was a blowout. People still in the stands in the 5th inning. That was awesome.
It was. And we do need to have that conversation. Is Luke the GOAT? He may be. I was actually texting with Jeffries after the weekend, and we were just kind of talking about how Luke was the GOAT, and obviously he played with him on that 07 and 06 team. And they sent out he sent me some pictures from the dinner that they had after the fact, and just seeing all the guys together, and all of our kids are around the same age, so we see them at the ballparks. And in fact, Camille's softball team, Hunter Moody's kid, is on the same team, so I see him and we chit chat from time to time. When we used to be so stacked, I mean, it just used to be so ridiculous how good of talent that we had on these teams, and they're all local guys. So you still get to see them, and it's cool to see these guys go on to have good lives. It's just, I just had a really good time at the ballpark on Saturday, and the fact that we got to celebrate one of our own like that, I hope people understand the moment. I mean, we don't get many of those, so I hope people got to go and experience that. It was great. But baseball, I said we wouldn't sweep. Now, you got to give me a little credit on this. That was before Lucroy gave the speech. Luke gives the speech, and at the end he says,
"Really, that's a stretch, Josh. Come on, bro."
Well, come on, dude. I mean, look, I didn't think he was gonna talk to the team in front of the entire stadium. That was awesome. I mean, I could have gone out there and got a hit today or that day. So it was good. But no, Kevin was right. We swept. Kevin also thinks we're going to sweep every weekend.
Somebody clip that.
He's going to be right about it.
We're Omaha bound, according to Kev.
Everybody needs a Kevin in their life. Everybody needs a Kevin in their life. Shout out to Kevin. But just getting back to the actual baseball. Look, it's easy to say the offense came alive on Saturday, and obviously the numbers bear that out. But here's what really happened, and this has been going on since midweek before Arkansas State. We are squarely, and I didn't think this team could do this. I didn't see it, but it's happening. We are squarely in the hot, cold, hot matrix. We started out the season hot, went into a slump, and we're getting hot at the right time. That's where you want to be in college baseball. Now, because we were so young and the way we were built and the way the bullpen was performing, I didn't think that was possible with this team, yet here we are.
But Josh, do you not agree that outside of last year, Deggs coach teams always start cold and get hot towards the end of the season? And this year, because they dropped off, we just gave up. I just thought that was the difference.
Typically, it's the inverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, typically, it's the inverse. We sputter, then we start to find our legs, and then postseason comes around and we kind of sputter a little bit. A lot of that is competition. But this year is the opposite. And I think that's super impressive because of the amount of freshmen that we rely on for production. I mean, that's a major thing. So, but no, I agree. Now, listen, we're going to find out a little bit more about this team in the next week or two because it's final season. You guys are going to have to, start taking finals. And typically after finals is over, you see the full, embodiment of what the team is going to be that year because school is over. They're not worried about school. They're not worried about homework or studying. And then they just can focus on ball. So we'll see what happens. And it happens around Coastal, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. They're going to have to strap it on tight and go play when it comes to Coastal. I mean, we got to look at that state. But still, just to say when finals rolls around, that's the competition. But specifically about the offense, okay? What's so impressive to me is that these freshmen have made the adjustment to the adjustment. I've been saying that all year. When are they going to make the adjustment to the adjustment that's made to them as young guys? And they've done it. Look at Noah Lewis. He's the prime example. This guy, I think he's third on the team in hits now after he missed a couple of weeks with an injury. Started off, kind of fighting for a place in the lineup. Now it's his job. He is the center fielder on this team, and he's your two-hole hitter. I think he can lead off, but he's your two-hole guy, and he is the guy. I think he's raised his batting average like 40 points in 3 weeks. It's freaking insane. So shout out to Noah. I mean, he's just coming on at the right time. Cole Brown went into a crazy slump, and all he did was raise his batting average to the highest on the team over the weekend. So that's your freshman catcher, and right around now is when your catchers start to get tired knees. You know, the season wears on them. High school ball, you don't play near 56 games. So all of that workload is typically, especially on catchers, it catches up with you. So, man, you just can't say enough about what Colt's done. I mean, even
let's go through this real quick, Josh. I do want to say, let's go through this. So he's currently leading the team in batting average at 319. He's slugging 469. Lee's in second, 313, slugging 479. And then Noah's at 306. He's slugging 388. But Noah, again, like, we didn't have three batters over 300 for the majority of the season. So the fact that we're doing that now, I'm happy with. Rigo might not have a sexy batting average at 288, but he's slugging for 436.
But he's clutch.
Exactly.
Rigo's your clutch guy.
Exactly. You look at Spalita, not great. 271. You're like, okay, average hitter. He's slugging for 431. You've got Markle. He's batting 256, slugging 417. So you feel like these guys are starting to get a little bit of confidence, and like you said, adjusting to the adjustments and really making some nice things happen.
But at the beginning of the season, when they had Spalita in the 3 and 4 hole hitter, I said he's not a 3 and 4 hole guy. Watch him in the summer.
Correct.
But if I told you that Spalita was going to hit a couple bombs for you, drive in runs, and hit 271 in the 7 hole, you'd say sign me the hell up right now.
But you know who I do like? I love what I'm seeing out of Mark Collins. I just got to say, that guy's just a guy who comes in and works. And just, like, I don't feel like he's not like this spectacular player that's going to get his jersey retired one day. But that's one guy I feel like I can count on game in and game out. That's just my opinion.
You know he reminds me of? He reminds me of a guy like Travis Whipple, Kyle Olison.
Exactly. Yeah, guys you're never going to mention.
Tools.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Glue guys that have just all the tools in the world. They scrap and claw for everything. And I think he's happy for the opportunity to get back in the lineup. And he said, look, I'm going to force you to play me. And that's what he's been doing. But look, specifically talking about why the offense has been productive, they've been a little more patient. Yes. They've made a few adjustments and stances and things like that. Noah Lewis has essentially got his left shoulder to first base. I mean, that thing is totally closed off. It's kind of weird. I've never seen like that before. And he stands way in the back of the box. But they are hitting the pitches where they are thrown. Early in the season, especially Donnie, I watch his at-bats. Of course, I watch his at-bats, one of my favorite players. But they were trying to take outside fastballs and pull them to left field. They were trying to golf ball. We were throwing splitters, and they were trying to hit the ball in the air. They have matured as hitters, and it's not just the older guys, the younger guys too. Balls on the outside black, they're hitting the ball to right field. Balls on the inside, they're getting their hands close, they're pulling their hands in, and they're doing what needs to be done to put the ball in play. Sometimes it's not pretty, but the quality at bat has gone through the roof. I'll tell you another thing. We're not missing mistakes anymore. Drew Markle is the poster child for this. The last 2 weeks, he's made a few little tweaks to his stance and things like that, and he's been on time. And being in the bottom of the lineup, he's seen a lot more fastballs, so that matters. But he's also not missing the mistakes that he's seen. Early in the season, he was not patient. He was rolling over on a lot of stuff. He's not missing. That guy is white hot right now. And, I bet that Deggs is having that little tingly feeling like, hey, I need to move Drew to the top of the lineup. I think he needs to not do that right now. And nobody wants to hit in the 9-hole. But look, you got Markle, you got Mark Collins, and then you get Noah Lewis. These are all sub-4 guys boxed to first base. Good luck trying to not turn the lineup over with those 3 guys. Tools. You got them. They're confident at the right time. Moving on to pitching. You get Herm. I love Herm leading off the series, and because of the weather, it worked out that way. And it was, in my opinion, a brilliant move to just let Herm do his thing in his slot on Saturday. But this is how you know guys are on their game. How many fly ball pop-up outs did Herman get Saturday at 2? Was it something like 17?
It was obnoxious. It was a lot.
But that turns games.
Correct.
That's Herm's game. Herm's going to make you pop the ball up. You're going to get under the ball. He just had every hitter in that lineup completely and totally off balance, and he pitched his games. He imposed his will. It was dominant.
Which, by the way, I feel like sets him up really well in the conference tournament because Montgomery is built sort of. Yeah, exactly.
Big park, a lot of humidity. I mean, and you love that. But look, you follow him with freaking 97 and a wipeout slider. Good luck. And Cody Brash had his good stuff. So I think Cody Brash got like 12 ground ball outs or 11 ground ball outs or something like that. So he was on his game because when Cody's going right, they're banging the ball into the ground. So Cody Brash was absolutely on fire. And then I think, we used 2 pitchers in the second game. So you walk into Sunday, full complement of the bullpen. All the guys that you want to see get some work. I was disappointed not to see Tillett there, but it kind of got dicey. Kevin and I talked about this. We want to see Tillett, but maybe not in a do-or-die situation just yet with that new slot. But you walk into Sunday, you feel great. Offense comes out, scores 4 runs. Now, one thing that I'll complain about a little bit is that we are struggling to get the kill shot. You saw Donnie hit the 3-run jack, which, by the way, Titanic home run. But that was like the only real dagger of the weekend. We're still leaving guys on base. I think we had 15 left on base Saturday. We have got to find a way, and that's where you miss Rigo. And that was unfortunate today. You didn't have Rigo. It was a 5-game week. I know I said we didn't play well today. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass. I'm going to give him a pass because 5-game week.
And emotional. Exactly.
No Rigo. I still need to see better out of the bullpen. If I'm projecting to the tournament, I need to see more out of the bullpen. But minimal things to complain about. We played freaking tremendous baseball on the defensive side. I told the group this. I have seen enough. Blaze Rodriguez is the best shortstop to ever put on the uniform. I've seen enough. How many? Does that dude have 4 errors this year?
I'm not going to. Hey, maybe, but I'm not going to. Look, I know we've got some good shortstops, and I know everyone wants to. I think Blake Trahan stands out in everybody's mind, but he's a freshman, bro.
Blaze ain't a hitter. He ain't the hitter that baby Trahan was. He's not.
But as far as positional playing and what he does, dude, there's nobody better.
He's better.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you he's better.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you he's better.
Yep.
The play that he made when the ball, I think it was the second game. It was the second game. The play that he made to get the force out at second base where he had to stretch like a first baseman. Shortstops don't do that. Okay. He looked like Lee there. And then the ball in the hole, right over second base that he
threw it first.
Field turned it through.
Yeah.
That's a big league play. That's a Bobby Witt Jr. play. And I'm not saying that BT couldn't make that play, but Rodriguez makes it look easy. He's the best I've ever seen. Tell him.
I might agree with you, man.
If he starts hitting a little bit, it's going to get nice. I mean, we got to hold on to him, but it's going to get nice with old Trabars there. So,
Trabars.
I mean, look, all in all, I mean, what can you say? The guys did what they absolutely needed to do. 5-0 week, very difficult to do. I don't care who you play. People can say about the competition. I thought the first game that we played against this team, I said, this might be the worst baseball team I've ever seen. I mean, this is St. Peter's all over again.
Yep.
But shout out to them for fighting back in the second and third game. But we did what we had to do. Pitch, we played defense, and we hit enough. But there's not a whole lot to complain about. I mean, it was fun to be at the park on Saturday.
It was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed being in Section A. I need to do that more. I will next year. I promise. I will do that more because I'll be here. But look, I do have to ask you a couple more questions. What kind of debauchery went over after the game last night? Because I went to have dinner with my brother, ran into the Pruitts. I was told by RC I'm a dummy because I went to dinner with my brother. What happened after the game? What'd y'all do?
Well, I'm getting old, man. I can't hang like that anymore. So I skipped out on the karaoke. I came to the house. I forgot what we did. We put on a movie and hung out with kids. But I see that they had a nice time. Very, very evident by people being thrown in the pool and whatnot.
I will say, RC loves his karaoke,
man. Fan when we're winning, I'll say that.
And look, one of the other cool things that I saw this weekend, I took a picture, kind of, a picture in the background. I don't think Cole realized I took it, him and his son. A couple other people kind of added other pictures. But talking about generational Cajuns fans, I felt like this weekend with the jersey giveaway, you saw so many. And Big Cat was there too, so I felt like that with him too. But especially being around Section 8 with all the kids hanging out, the boys playing with each other. The jersey giveaway, the dads and the sons going in together, and that was just cool, man. And that's what we need more of, is more generational Cajuns fans being that from the start and never deviating from that. And look, Cole's got it. You definitely got it with Big Cat. I know some other oh shit, what was his name? Is it Blaine? I forget names, but look, tons of guys this weekend brought their kids out there, and just seeing that and enjoying the weekend, especially when we win, is just so special, man.
So I'm going to go dad mode here for a second, but one thing that I always talk to Owen about, and I'm sure a lot of other dads do the same thing, is that when we were growing up, if we had a bad game, we'd get in the car, dad would be like, "What are you doing? You're not paying attention. You're swinging there. You're late. You're not." None of that helped any of us. It really didn't. We talk about the mental game. If you strike out, you got to overcome the mental game. You got to overcome the sadness that comes with, you feel like you let the team down. So what I do is, if he, and Big Cat doesn't strike out very often, so I don't have to really worry about it. But if he gets put out, I could see it build, and he's like, "Oh God," But I'll tell him every single time when we get in the car, I was like, "Hey, so what was your mental approach? Were you going to go help the team in the field? Did you want to throw somebody out? How are you going to get back to help the team?" And he has a plan now. We've been doing this for 2 years. So on Saturday when John came to talk, I wanted him to see an athlete that had the right mental approach, and we talked about that. And it was great for it to be one of us, and I thought that really connected with him. And then he asked me what it meant to have your jersey retired, and I said, and by the way, Owen wears 21. That's his number. So he said, what does it mean? Why did they put his jersey number on the wall? I said, dude, nobody can ever wear that jersey again. That player was so good, he owns that number. Nobody can ever wear it again. So that blew his little mind, But at one point, after all that, emotional stuff was over, I looked down in the patio boxes by the opposing bullpen, Georgia State bullpen, and wouldn't you know it, it's Owen and all his little Fatima buddies. I mean, probably like 6 or 7 of the boys just gooning.
I remember that.
They're hanging on the fence. They're hollering at Georgia State players, and I trust Owen to keep it light, keep it above board, no nasty stuff. But it was like what we did when we were younger. We're at the old tee, we're just giving them hell, and you grow up doing that stuff. And some of my greatest memories of being a Cajuns fan, and the reason why I'm so connected to the program in many ways, is just having the childhood there when you're there on Saturdays and seeing all that stuff and being exposed to all those things. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. And it was awesome to see so many kids on that day, to see that guy give that speech in that ballpark. I just, I think it's one of those core memory things where they look back and they go, I'm a Cajuns fan because,
Yeah, and Luke could be the next Ron Guidry to this generation. Like Ron was the Ron Guidry to our generation, but like Luke is the Ron Guidry to the next generation, which is amazing. And also great to see Colleen. I got to give her a big hug. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when he started talking about Robe, I started boohooing like she did on the field, but it was good to see her there. There can be rumors of, oh, the family doesn't like the program, whatever. No, they're still Cajuns fans, and they love Luke, and they were there for him, and that was awesome to see. Really good.
Well, we
stuff,
come together for our own. You put
real.
personal differences aside when it's your own, and we do that. We do a great job of that. And I just thought it was so well done. And of course, you wanted to play well, so we came out and played well. And of course, Colt Brown rises to the occasion and hits a bomb.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
I saw Luke retweeted it on Twitter and said bomb. So, just like one of those very, very, it was just a perfect Saturday. Everything was very apropos. It was exactly the way it was supposed to be.
Except I don't think we didn't score 21 runs, did we?
Right.
We were close. I think we were close. That's what I wanted.
Saturday, what was it?
It was
14
14 and 5. So
14
yeah.
5.
Yeah. So 19. So we're close, man. I wanted that 21. But I guess I'll be okay with that.
Just the book and everything, just, it was just a day to be proud Cajuns fan. We did a great job of taking care of business. We moved up in the standings. I feel much better about going to App State. And say what you want about App State, and you can forget about the history of App State baseball. That's a good team. And they play in a small park, and they can swing the bat. So if we don't keep the ball down and we don't go up there ready to compete like we did this week, we can get our asses kicked. So I don't expect that. I feel like we're playing well. I think the confidence is high. But the bottom line is Coastal Carolina happens in 2 weeks. We got to be looking at App State, okay? I think they're very dangerous. And I think they won the series this weekend, didn't they? I think they're third in the league.
They did, yeah. They are third. And you know what? I'm glad we're on the road. Before we come back to Coastal, like I don't expect to win that series. But if you get 2 out of 3, if you play really well, get 2 out of 3 at App State and have Coastal at home, then it gets fun. Then it gets a lot of fun.
Cam Flukie got touched yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody saw that.
I saw that. Yeah. In fact, Lane was the one who mentioned it to us.
Yeah. I mean, he got smoked. So, look.
It happened today, actually.
That was today?
Yeah. Last I saw it was 7-1. Georgia Southern was up.
Okay. Well, the days are starting to run together. But, look, if you go get 2 out of 3 against App State, you come home against Coastal, anything is possible. I don't know if people realize this, but we kind of own Coastal and Lafayette.
We do.
We play against them no matter how good they are. We play really well when they come here. So anything is possible. Baseball is so between the ears. Mike knows what I'm talking about. It's just, it doesn't really matter. I mean, of course it matters the talent, but if you're on a heater and you catch a team and you're at home and you feel like you can win, sometimes you just win on vibes. And if we can get 2 out of 3, I expect to at least win 1 at home. But if we can get 2 out of 3 somehow, I mean, now you're talking about, all right, this team can really launch itself into another competitive bracket, which, again, like I said, we might be in that, squarely in that hot matrix. Exactly where you want
Coastal
to be.
lost 4-7 today.
Let's go.
Coastal can be beat. I'm just saying, they're not, there's no kryptonite for Coastal. They can be beat. You just got to play good baseball.
Even when they beat us in Lafayette, they got to scrape and claw for everything.
Correct.
And when you got Brash going well, and here's another thing about Brash, what did he give you, 7?
Yep.
We got 7 out of Brash. That's a huge development.
Man.
And Cody Brash, do you know how many total pitches he threw, Mike?
No, he's not. He's shaking his head. No.
No, I don't.
I want to say it was in the 80s.
I don't remember, but if you can go 6 1/3, 7 complete, and then you hand it over to a bullpen, dude, Cody Brash for 7 innings, what? I don't want to deal with that shit for 7 innings. Nobody does.
Yeah.
And then you come back with Heron. I'm just telling you, like, the team is evolving. You can see it happening in front of you, and that's great because the talent is. I've been saying it all year. The talent is there.
And they're saying 79 was the number of pitchers, but
79.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, he throws
he
so hard. You can't throw him for. He's not. Yeah, you can't do to him what you do to Herm. Like Herm can pitch 130. Can't do that with our boy because he throws so hard. I mean, Brash, he sounds like Monica Seles screaming every time he pitches the ball.
Remember Bo Bonds would have cussing people out? Man, I miss that.
I remember that.
If Cody Brash would cuss everybody out on every pitch, that would just make him probably my favorite player.
That was awesome.
Well, look, I'm going to get off of here. Let somebody else call in. Appreciate y'all doing the show. I always look forward to it on the weekends. Shout out to you guys for always making it happen.
All right, brother. Good hearing from you. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Later.
See ya. Bye.
Y'all be good.
Yeah, it was good hearing from Josh, and I appreciate you for bringing this up, Lane. Keep an eye on Raging Cajuns from Kendall Rogers talking about sweeping Georgia State. South Alabama, another team to watch out for. I think South Alabama has a lot more work to do as far as almost like must sweeps and then get into the conference tournament. I think we could win the next 2 series. Well, if we win the next 2 series, get in the tournament, win a couple games, we're definitely in my opinion. We're up to 44. Is that right, Lane? 44 right now?
42.
42.
It just
So we're up to
changed.
42 right now. If we win the next 2 series, I will say, let me take that back. If we win 4 games out of the next 6 in conference, we're in. No matter how that plays out, 4 out of 6, you're in. Caveat: you got to win a couple games in the tournament. You can't go 2 in Q or 1 in Q. You got to win 1 or 2 games in the tournament. But I will say it's looking a lot better today than it has previously.
Speaking of winning 4 out of 6, would you rather sweep Coastal or sweep App and then lose 1 or 2 games to the other team?
Look, if we go 1 and 2, we're not going to sweep Coastal. Would I rather? Yeah. I'd rather sweep Coastal, lose 2 out of 3 to App State any day of the week, but that's not going to happen. Our best hope would be to win 2 out of 3 against App, 2 out of 3 against Coastal, and then we're good. That's a tough road ahead. Can they do it? Absolutely. Will they do it? We'll see. Mike?
Yeah, and especially like all eyes. I think all eyes were on this series, right? We absolutely needed this sweep. This was humongous for us. It put us in a way better spot moving forward. But like you said, we have to take 2 at App State. Being on the road, that's going to be an RPI booster. I think if we take 2 from App, I would be willing to just be more comfortable on how the series would go against Coastal, right? But I think all eyes were on this weekend. We handled business. Now all eyes are, and we got to beat UNO on Tuesday, right? That's a must win also. But we have to take 2 from App State just to put us in a better position moving forward. And the confidence and the momentum booster that could happen if we take 2 from App. We're asking a lot because App State's a good program, good team this year. So, but we're playing really good ball right now. We're hot right now. The pitchers are throwing good. The hitters are finally hitting. We've seen 3 home runs this weekend. A huge knock by Griff got him his first home run today. Good for him. I know the batting average doesn't show for it, but when he came in, that was huge for him.
By the way, do you think, honest question, raise your hand. Did any of you think we would get 5 wins this week? Raise your hand if you thought so. Big Kev did, I think. Maybe. He might be the only one.
Yeah, he's probably the only one
to gloat about it, but I mean, the fact that we went 5-0 this week, did not think we had it in us. And not only went 5-0, again, like Josh said, we dominated Southern, we dominated Nichols, came out, dominated Georgia State in game 1, won game 2. Like the game 3 today, you get why they probably were out of gas a little bit. But man, you just gotta love what you've seen this past week. Bryce is saying he expected 4-1. I agree with you, brother. I agree. And he talked about being above 500 in conference, up around 40. Look, this is a time for the team to get hot, and I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Absolutely.
Mike is just nodding over there. You had fun yesterday, man?
I did. Today was recovery mode. I think we.
Yeah, what'd you do last night? Tell us about it.
We ended up at RC's, and I was a part of the karaoke party that they had going on. But it's fun when UL wins. We have fun. We have fun tailgating. We have fun at the tent after the games. It goes extra hours after the game. Sunday was recovery mode, but found a way to get to the park today. But it's fun when we're winning, and it's fun when we're hitting. It's fun when we're pitching. When it's all coming together, it's fun as a fan.
I'm just upset. I was given so much shit about not going last night. I knew what would happen. No, I'm not going. I didn't that, bro.
I didn't go. I didn't get shit for it. So
good. Well, of course, you never get shit for anything, Lane. It's just me. I don't know what I did to these people. I'm just trying to exist.
It was pretty wild. You should have made a pass. It was
no, I shouldn't have made a pass. I'm glad I came home.
It was
went to Dino's first.
We got to see everybody sing.
And RC loves his karaoke. That's so funny to me. Like, it's not like, hey, let's play poker. Hey, let's play Boo-Ray. Let's pull out the karaoke machine. Or Yahtzee. That's another thing RC does. Let's play Yahtzee.
It was fun. Everybody karaoke.
You gotta love it, man. Gotta love the guy. Well, boys, it's been a lot of fun. Look, we're at an hour. I feel like we come instead of going 3 hours, we got all 3 hours into 1 hour. I think it's been a lot of fun. I'll get final thoughts. I'll start with you, Lane. Any final thoughts going into this big weekend against App State? Who do we play midweek? I don't even have that up. You guys know? Do we have
UNO? I think.
Oh, we play UNO. And by the way, they beat a Sunbelt team very recently. Southern Miss. They beat Southern Miss. So can't overlook the Privateers, or whatever they're called because LSU bought them. But talk to me. What you got? Final thoughts for the upcoming week?
Glad we went 5-0 this week, and looking forward to continuing our winning ways and playing one more game at home before we hop on the road.
Michael Beer, what you got?
We asked and begged for a sweep, and the boys handled business and gave it to us. Props to them. Don't overlook UNO. Starts with UNO, and then let's go handle business at App State. We're playing good at the right time.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Keep the momentum going. Midweek win or loss is not the end of the world. Got to focus on our next 2 weekend series. My challenge to the team, get 4 out of 6. We're in good spot. That's all I want.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Like, share, and subscribe. We love doing this for you guys, but the more likes and shares and subscriptions we get, the more stuff we can do for you here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So thank you all again for joining us. For my boy Lane, for Mike, for Josh, who called in earlier, I'm Nicholas. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And until next time, we'll see you Thursday. Go Cajuns.